Hi there, UNGenevaReads. I'm absolutely thrilled that you've picked my book, The Good Country Equation, to be this next winter read. And I really hope you're going to enjoy reading it if you haven't already done so. I just wanted to tell you a couple of things about the book and why I wrote it. I'm lucky I have a really unusual job. I advise governments, usually at the level of head of state and head of government. And over the last 20 or so years, I've advised 60 countries around the world on how they can engage more effectively and more imaginatively with the international community. And that's quite an unusual experience. And quite frankly, you'd have to be fast asleep if after 20 years of doing that, you hadn't formed a few views about what's gone wrong with the world and how we can fix it. And I haven't been fast asleep, I've been wide awake. And after country after country after country with these extraordinary experiences of talking very intimately and very personally sometimes with presidents, monarchs and prime ministers and governments and ordinary citizens about their country and its role in the world. Of course, I've formed a few views and a few opinions about why things are broken, where they're broken, and which things aren't broken, and what we can do to fix the things that are broken. But first of all, I really didn't want this book to be boring, because it's a feature of many of the books that come out every year that talk about the state of the world, that they are, let's be honest, a little bit kind of doom-laden, quite depressing to read, and also very technical. And for people like you and me who work in this field, that isn't a problem. But for people who don't, it is a problem. And because all the problems in the world are caused by all the people in the world, and because all the people in the world are going to be required to fix them, it's so important that books of this sort are easily accessible and easily understandable by anybody, not just people with a degree in international relations or macroeconomics. So I decided that I was going to do a bit of an experiment here and write the book not as a textbook about the state of the world, but as a travelogue, as an adventure story, which tells autobiographically how I moved from country to country to country, working with government after government, and the frankly bizarre things that happened and that always will happen when you're talking about these kinds of topics with these kinds of people. So the end result, I think, ought to be more like an adventure story or a novel than a textbook about international relations. In it, I also make a few points about how I think that we can make things work better, how we can make the world work better. I talk a lot about the United Nations and the international system, but mostly I talk about how we can change the culture of government worldwide from fundamentally competitive to fundamentally collaborative, and how we can persuade governments that this is not about altruism or moralism. This is about a direct, immediate economic self-interest for them and for their countries. I'm really looking forward to talking to you in February when we get to discuss your reactions and your feedback and your comments in more detail. Looking forward to it. See you then.